Good morning, everybody. This is Lucid Layla, and this is our fourth podcast on lucid dreaming and a lucid dreaming lifestyle. Yesterday, I heard a really good talk by Alan Watts on YouTube. It's Trusting the Universe. For those of you who have never heard about Alan Watts, I can highly recommend listening to his stuff. Also, if you're coming more from a spiritual background, Ram Dass is also highly suggested. Alan Watts studied Asian philosophy, I think, and philosophy in general. And I think he's an atheist, but he's just really intrigued by lots of the Asian philosophies. I myself was always very intrigued by Asian philosophies, and funnily enough, one of my big idols, Tim Ferriss, literally studied Asian philosophies in school. So there must be something intriguing, and I just wanted to reflect some of the things that I took away from the talk. So when you're a lucid dreamer and you lucid dream regularly and you kind of have a similar mindset like me, you discover that dreaming is really not that much different from real life. In dreams, obviously, we wish something and it happens right away and it manifests. But in real life, I personally found that just like in dreams, you can literally get whatever you want. The only difference is the manifestation time. And I talked about this, I think, in my video, How to Make Dreams Come True or something like that, where I'm standing on a meadow and I'm kind of free talking. And I'm kind of sharing my experience with wanting to come back to the United States and making it happen and believing in yourself. And anyways, what I wanted to talk about is being in real life and utilizing concepts of dream life to apply so that the dream work doesn't end in the morning, but you actually incorporate a lot of things. And a lot of times we want to control life, we want to be in charge, just like in a lucid dream. But what I've personally found is the more I like to control a lucid dream, the more lucid I am and the more I think I am in control. And I'm literally even consciously creating the background and the people in it and what they say and the color of their hair. All of a sudden the dream loses some of its magic. You know, why are dreams so magical? Because there are a lot of elements that we cannot control that pop up from our subconscious mind that we might recognize once we see them, but we could have never possibly summoned them ourselves consciously. And that's just like life, you know, there's just so many factors. You cannot make them up all in your head. If you would try to do so, it'd be pretty boring. And that's what I discovered in lucid dreams. Once I was so much in control of my dreams, I summoned a bunch of elements, but the surprising factors, they kind of went away. So the whole dream world seemed more static, less vibrant, and less dynamic, and there was less surprise dynamics popping up, and that's really the stuff that's memorable, you know. And Alan Watts talked about something similar. He said, you know, trust in the universe, you know, life is so complex, there's a lot of things happening, and overall, long term, it's better if we give away responsibility, if we delegate, if we trust that things will arrange itself. Work with what you have, work with what arises, and don't try to control the whole universe. Try to take what you have and see how it unfolds for you, and then go with that flow, because that's the natural flow of how things are supposed to work with you, you know. You could call it destiny, you could call it God, you can call it whatever you like. I am really impartial when it comes to that. But it's gonna be way easier for you to work with that flow, that natural flow, other than trying to control everything. And that's specifically hard for me because I'm a control freak when it comes to that, and I always think I can negotiate stuff, and yeah, sure, maybe I can, but who knows if I wouldn't have gotten to that point anyways through another means, you know what I mean? Because it was meant to happen anyways. And he says, when we make conscious decisions in life, we always try to think it through to the last minute detail. And that's when overthinking kicks in. This is when worry kicks in, and it's unhealthy. Of course, you should use your brain to make rational decisions, but if you really think about, you cannot think about each and every variable in any given situation for a decision, or variables that might compromise the variables that you're already talking about. And sure, we get a lot of decisions right, but we just get others also wrong. And in any given situation, it's pretty amazing that we get a lot of things right, but that's not necessarily only because we applied rational. Your subconscious mind is like a supercomputer on top of the RAM of a 1990 phone, which you call your conscious brain, you know what I mean? Because there's just not as much power to that, computing power to that conscious mind. And sure enough, we find ourselves not tapping enough into that subconscious mind, that mind that's active during dreaming. I myself fell victim to this sin, I shall say, of not listening to my subconscious mind. I'll give you an example. I went to the dentist the other day in the United States. I wasn't in pain, nothing, everything was fine. All of a sudden they diagnosed me with 11 cavities that they want to drill. And in my whole life I've never really had cavities in Germany. My teeth were always really good. And I felt time pressured because I know I would not have any time in the coming weeks to go to another dentist or get this done. I was really, really time pressured, but already walking in, I saw the dentist's office wasn't really clean. The people, sorry, but they spoke broken English and they didn't make an attempt to be super friendly about it or very transparent. Everything was kind of hush-hush. The dentist, when I asked her, well, that's so weird, I don't even see anything on the x-ray. Can you at least show me once you drill the first cavity? Can you show me so I can see whether there is a gray shade? And she's like, oh, you wouldn't even see, it's the wrong angle. And I'm thinking, wait, my old dentist, he would always show me stuff. You can use 2 mirrors and then you can see what's going on in your mind, in your mouth. And sure enough, I had a bad gut feeling. Subconsciously, I knew I had to leave in that situation, but I tried to rationalize it based on 1 or 2 factors. But in reality, there's 100 million factors that already signal you, get out of there. This is not a good place. You will regret this. I couldn't even point at the factors that were giving me the gut feeling other than, the really dirty office and just like the attitude and the lack of transparency of the staff. But I'm sure my subconscious mind also picked up on, 50 other factors that I wasn't even consciously aware. But my rational mind tried to rationalize this decision, right? Uncertainty reduction theory, or cognitive consistency theory in communication research, if you want to look it up further. We try to rationalize our decisions afterwards just so we don't contradict ourselves, because that would create a unpleasant feeling within ourselves. The cognitive inconsistency, which we try to avoid. Anyways, it turns out I sent my x-rays to another dentist who's an expert and who I really trust over the years. And he's like, there's not a single cavity in your mouth. She did 50%. She literally drilled 60% of your mouth for nothing. She charged you for it. And now I have pain in my mouth that I have never had before. She did such a bad job. I can't really even floss on this side. It's a horrible, horrible nightmare. And all of this would have been avoidable if I just listened to my gut feeling, to my subconscious mind. By the way, I also listened to really wonderful podcasts lately, that was illuminating on the brain-gut connection. So in case you haven't heard, the gut, where our immune system sits, and also hosts the most nervous cells from our nervous system. So as crazy as that sounds, our gut might be some kind of super brain, a neural network of even more nervous cells than the brain. And what that means is we literally process decisions also through our gut. And then there's another connection where they arguably say that because the gut is so central, it has a direct impact on brain health. If your digestion is not okay, if your probiotics are out of balance, that's going to affect your brain health. So these are all things to consider. Bottom line, go with the flow, listen to your gut feeling, trust the universe, go with that flow that you feel it. You gotta learn to tap into your intuition. Really, you gotta learn to tap into that, because we're evolving, and if you don't tap into that intuition, you're gonna be screwed over and over, and things are really gonna get bad for you. I feel we're at a new stage now where we have to learn how to reconnect with that part in ourselves. We have become too dependent on our smartphones. We have become too mindless. People now go back to meditation to connect with that part in themselves again. I personally find when I sit down and I just try to meditate literally for 2 minutes, and before that my head is scattered and I think I have to do things that are not actually even important, and I plan to start doing these things. I sit down for 2 minutes, everything cleans up, and I know exactly what's important in my life again. It's 1 or 2 things that I really need to do that really get me ahead of the game, and I do them, and everything else resolves in itself, because that one main task took care of it all, and everything else turned out to be insignificant. So those are another examples of trust your intuition, go with that flow. You gotta tap and step into that flow. It's really important, I feel, specifically as the world gets crazier and crazier. We're not able to process everything consciously anymore. We're not able to make those rational decisions because our head would explode. For really important things, reserve yourself some brain time to make those rational derivations, obviously. Don't just go with the gut feeling for really important things, but for everything that's not very crucial, save your time and save yourself the stress, because it's so much stress trying to overthink each and every decision. What do I wear to work today? What am I going to have for breakfast? What are my options for coffee tonight? It's just going to give you depression and anxiety. You gotta eliminate all those really head-heavy decisions in your life to make space for what's really truly important for you. Anyways, that's it for me this morning. I hope you have a great day, and let me know what you would like to see in the next podcast. This is kind of fun, rambling on a daily basis, and I've gotten a really good view to like ratio from the last podcast, so the few people that saw it, they must have really liked it, which kind of keeps me motivated to keep going. So if you haven't had subscribed already or liked it, please give me a thumbs up, or subscribe to keep getting those video notifications. Also, YouTube has a button, it's like a bell, where you actually get push messages to your phone once a new episode gets published. So I always activate that for my subscription so I don't miss out when someone uploads a new video. And until then, stay lucid, stay awesome, and I see you next week. Bye bye.